of elephants include traits that are similar to humans, such as empathy and problem solving, and their demonstration of these makes for a fascinating spectacle. A remarkable attribute of this species is how they communicate effectively with one another. So let's try and understand elephant communication and what each of these techniques implies. The elephant orchestra, which is what is busy playing out currently. And elephants utilize an array of sounds to express their emotions. For instance, elephants roar to convey intimidation or distress, and they chirp and squeak to gather their herd or even to provide reassurance. Further, they make low-frequency rumbles to take communication over vast expanses. They use these sounds to vocalize affection or their dominance, form connections, seek a partner, provide comfort, or offer encouragement to another. When elephants are highly stimulated, they like to trumpet. That's what we're seeing now. And I think the stimulation mainly coming from the joyfulness of being around this waterhole, as well as the big connection of different herds. Maybe they haven't seen them for a while, or maybe it's long lost friends, etc. So the loud trumpet call indicates excitement, anger, playfulness, or surprise, and it can also be used as a sense when they are feeling lost or they've been left behind by the herd. So looking into the elephant's eye, just like humans, elephants' eyes display their moods and reactions. When elephants are excited, scared, or stressed, their eyes widen. This is due to the release of adrenaline, which prepares elephants and humans alike to handle perceived threats. When the elephant's eyes are half closed and its tail is swishing gently from side to side, one can tell that an elephant is in a relaxed mood. And did you know that just like humans and apes, elephants too can recognize themselves in a mirror? This was revealed in a study conducted with elephants in the Bronx Zoo in New York. And the research was carried out keeping in mind that elephants have large and complex brains and indulge in frequent social interactions. Now, the flapping of those giant ears. They have large ears with thin skin and prominent veins. These veins ensure that the body temperature of elephants is regulated. When flapped, the ears act like cooling fans or radiators for the elephants, and the several blood vessels present on their ears help to circulate the blood throughout their body. When elephants in the wild are confronted by a potential enemy or predator, they may show their annoyance by extending their ears outward at a 90-degree angle from their body to appear larger. The spreading of ears may also be seen when elephants feel excited, surprised, or alarmed. Now, a little bit about their feet, because we're seeing lots of different movements with their feet. They swing them sometimes, they sort of both front and back. There's a lot of jostling around and so on. But elephants occasionally lift one of their feet and hold it still or swing it back and forth. This behavior is linked to their emotional state or uncertainty about how to proceed in a particular situation. Moreover, some field studies suggest that elephants use their feet to pick up seismic signals as well. They navigate their surroundings with a remarkable degree of silence, but there are moments when they deliberately scuff their feet against the ground to produce sound. This behavior is a way to assert dominance or intimidate other elephants or animals around them. And this can be seen quite a lot, this scuffing and kicking the ground to loosen the soil, as well as grass, and often before they feed on forage as well. We see them a lot where they grab grass clumps, and it's sort of too difficult to pull out the ground, so they kick it with their front feet to the side, and it pulls it out the ground. Shaking of their heads is a common way for elephants to reflect annoyance, frustration, dominance, or even joy. This behavior can also be a warning to other elephants or potential threats. Additionally, elephants may shake their heads to dislodge insects or to remove water after bathing or swimming. However, it is key to note that the reason behind an elephant shaking its head can often be mistaken if the situation they are found in has not been considered. A lot of the head shaking here is maybe just between siblings, or they can be just showing off, having fun, whatever it might be. But captive elephants rescued from cruelty are prone to display stereotypic behavior by bobbing and swaying their head. which is expressions of stress. When feeling threatened by predators or humans, wild elephants may hold their heads high, raise their chins, and extend their ears while staring straight ahead over their tusks. They might even stand on a raised surface like a mud hill of dirt to heighten the intimidation factor. By adopting this stance, the elephant shows that it is alert and ready to react to any potential danger. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, we saw it was on the opposite side of this waterhole, and there were two bulls that came and had a little bit of a standoff. But the one that was slightly smaller actually stood up on that very long log, and it gave him quite an exceptional advance in the size of him. And the other bull was actually bigger than him, but because of this display, as he stood on the log, I think he gained the upper hand. And then there was a whole backpedaling from the bigger bull, and he seemed to have lost this little battle. And I think it was as a result of initially that smaller one seeming bigger by adopting that stance on top of the log, which was very interesting indeed. An elephant's trunk is not only its nose, but also has many other functions that helps the mammal. In times of hesitation or uncertainty, they'll twist the tip of their trunk backwards and forwards. And so also a very good indication of how they're feeling, and also a very useful tool. But an elephant herd in the wild sometimes shows a fascinating behavior that is called synchronized freezing. We see this a lot here, which means that all of them become motionless together. This happens when they use their keen senses of smell and hearing to detect any unusual sounds or smells in the environment, especially to locate food. This behavior is also particularly useful in areas with high predator activity, where the elephants need to be extra cautious. It's also a sign that they are communicating with each other. The elephants are impressive animals that use their trunks, tails, and feet very skillfully. They can hone their problem-solving ability through trial and error. For instance, to swat flies, elephants residing at different places and including here, will be seen using their ears and tails. They scratch their body against tree trunks to relieve an itch, maneuver their trunks to obtain food out of wherever they are, or even take mud baths to prevent body heat, which is what we're seeing right now. And elephants will often dig holes in the ground to access water and to prevent it from evaporating. They rip bark from trees, chew them into a ball, and sometimes even use that to plug the holes that they've dug. And I've seen that in the Namib Desert, where there's actually been plugs put over the holes that they've dug up. So young elephants will frequently engage in playful kicking with one another. You see that happening here too. It's normal for elephants to use these kicks to make other elephants move away, especially when they feel another elephant is standing too close to them or to claim the best spot. They also may kick objects like branches or vegetation for amusement or to intimidate other animals. Being such social creatures, they do also display human-like traits such as sensitivity and care, with soothing gestures of touching and caressing each other with their trunks. It is said that elephants never forget. They've been known to demonstrate deep mourning when a loved one dies, such as gently touching and caressing the deceased's head and pausing in silence for several minutes at the location of their passing, even years after their death. In the words of Canadian journalist Graydon Carter, we admire elephants in part because they demonstrate what we consider the finest human traits: empathy, self-awareness, and social intelligence.
Are you WildEarth's biggest fan? Then our Fan of the Month is a competition for you. Join our naturalists on Safari Live and listen out for weekly questions. To enter the competition, head over to our Instagram, search #WildEarthFan, and comment your answer under the post. The monthly winner will be determined by the total quickest and most correct answers, and will win a private virtual safari. We announce our winner at the end of every month. Tune in to Safari Live Daily. Wild Earth, it's in your nature.
And the playtime has continued. Happiness is elephants in a waterhole. Look at that. The youngsters having the most fun, of course. At least the zebras are getting a chance now to have a drink in amongst the chaos. Oh, well, that was short-lived. One of the youngsters decided to see them off. It's a fun game, that, charging at zebra. So, Clara, could you ever get tired of watching elephants? I mean, I don't think it's actually possible because they're always doing something. Sorry, excuse me. They're always doing something out of the ordinary and always something different going on. Such intelligent creatures and amazing and fascinating to watch. Look at these ones on the right here. It looks like they're all scratching their bellies or doing some kind of game there. Pretending they can't get out. Yo, that's a good trumpet. Whoops. Elephants are out of control, and so is the camera. I think in the same excitement as all of these pachyderms. And this side of the waterhole seems like the play area for the youngsters. It's the slippy slide. Looks like Mom has said, all right, that's enough. You're going to get hurt. Stop it. And that youngster, being truly scolded, has disappeared. Looks like the zebra trying again. Let's see if they can get through a full drink there before they get chased off by another youngster. See that one trying to get a headstand going. Planted his tusks in the mud. Oh, now he's going to roll over. What an absolutely fabulous start to the show. So, Emu, I'm glad you've been able to wake up and see this first up. It is fantastic. Elephants, elephants, everywhere you look. Well, just a lone impala running through here in the foreground. It's a little female. Looks like it's being pursued by those young elephants as well. Yeah, there it came running back. That young elephant on the other side, I think it's probably a young bull. He's hell bent on keeping those zebra from having a drink. you can hear some of that low rumble. So there's all the types of communication going on currently, from trumpeting to low rumbles, and all the different types of body language as well. So it seems a few of the herds have had their play and their cool off and their drink and are moving off, but it does also seem like there's more that are arriving. So it might be a bit of a rolling presence here at the Waterhole. Look at that tiny little baby there as well. Wonderful. Falling around in the mud, struggling to keep under mum, but also just enjoying the mud, I think. That baby is tiny. Oops, getting knocked around a bit. Slippy slidey, but loving it. Under the watchful eye of mum. That is just too cute. It can't be much more than a couple of weeks old, that little one. Maybe a couple of months at the most, but look at that, really struggling to keep its feet on that slippy mud. A little bit of breakup of picture there. Sorry about that. These are obviously remote cameras, and sometimes it's mostly down to signal. And sometimes we do have that, but it should correct itself. So the numbers of elephants have dissipated a little bit, and that's given scores of zebra a chance to at least come in and quench their thirsts. They seem to have all banded together on the left-hand side there. So we've seen this elephant bull here with this notch or big piece out of its ear quite regularly, almost every day. Yo, that was a nice trumpet. So we are experiencing some technical issues behind the scenes. It seems there's different platforms that are still on air and some others that aren't. But anyway, for those of you that are still on air with us, the fun continues here at Jamala, where it is an absolute festival of elephants. See this tiny little baby here, just off on the left of this small group of ellies, drinking from mum. There's a big bull there. It might have to stop drinking while mom gets out the way. So now, if you can see, you look at that female with the tiny little baby. When she stands profile on, you can see the sort of real angle to her forehead. It goes almost at a 45-degree angle. Whereas you look at the bull, that big bull that's walking sort of towards the water now, it's a lot more rounded in the front. And that's a nice way of being able to tell between a bull and a cow. But you can also just look at how much bigger the breadth is of the skull of the bulls, where we've got a nice mix now between bulls and cows. Obviously, full adult bulls, it's relatively easy to tell that it is in fact a bull. And still lots of splashing about and having fun. And these ones in the foreground here, I think deep in discussion of some sorts. Either that or they're waiting their turn to drink at where the fresh water comes out. And there's only one little pipe there, so they might have to just wait a while. So the elephants are the ones that really search out the fresh water coming in. The other animals are pretty happy with any water that they can get, but especially with a lot of elephants now having been splashing about in the water itself, it's all pretty muddied up now. So probably very muddy taste to the water as well, and that's why they'll prefer to come here where the sort of fresh water is coming out. Look at this tiny little baby here in the foreground. Isn't that precious? Getting a little greeting. Another little youngster chasing off the zebra there. I think that's too much of a fun game not to be missed. So what a wonderful start to the show it has been here at Jamala with this festival of elephants. And I could sit and watch this all day. But we do have other locations that I think we should jump around to just for a change of scenery. And for now, I think let's head to Djuma. This is in the Greater Kruger National Park. And we've got a nice little herd of waterbuck, seemingly ruminating in the shade of a tree near to the lodge. It's important to spend this time ruminating. And you'll see there's a lot of chewing, then swallowing, then there's a pause, and then the cud ball comes back up and it's re-chewed. Also starting to notice a lot of regrowth of the grass, which is nice to see. Lots more greenery here in these parts as well. So Chana, yeah, I can guarantee it's warm here in these parts. So I'm sure they're enjoying this little bit of shade. Absolutely. I always think of waterbuck as fluffy teddy bears. I'm sure one of these days we're going to get leopard on this camera as well as a lot of the other ones. Naledi Dam has started off the trend, so hopefully we'll see lots more in the future. So in waterbuck, if you may be thinking, why don't these have horns? Well, it's only the bulls that have horns. So nice and easy to tell the difference between male and female with waterbuck. Same as impala and kudu. They only the males have horns. So this spot is just off of the waterhole. The waterhole off to the right of here, or almost in the same sort of behind the camera, the way it's pointing now. And animals such as this is also a very good indicator of if there's any predators around. So it's good to watch them. If there's any kind of a change of behavior and they all start looking in a specific direction, then we would obviously look in the same direction that they're looking. And you see, constantly listening out, and they'll also be sniffing the air as well as looking out as well. But even if their eyes are closed and they're having a kind of snooze, the ears and nose will constantly still be working, and they'll pick up if there's any predators around. So, Joanna, no, it's not quite as soft as it does look. It is reasonably fluffy, but it's quite rough, and the hair is quite thick actually. So it doesn't sort of feel as welcoming as it looks. But it is, the hair is hollow, so it does help not, to get saturated, etc. when they spend a lot of time in the water. But yeah, it's the same as cheetah, for instance. They might look cute and cuddly, but a very sort of hard feeling to the hair. And I've been licked by cheetah as well, and it almost took my skin off. So very, very rough tongues. So now a little bit of a look around, see what else is about. Nice clear skies. Doesn't seem to be any clouds. It seems like the most activity is these waterbuck, just busy ruminating.
Step into a world of discovery as you join Eco Training's renowned courses in the heart of Kenya's Masai Mara. These courses are the perfect way to gain a deep understanding of the African bush, even if you have limited time. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to experience the wild in a meaningful and life-changing way. Enroll today and embark on a transformative journey with Eco Training in Kenya's Masai Mara, the leading force in conservation education.
So still just a nice relaxing scene here with these waterbuck females. Everybody just ruminating and maybe catching a bit of a snooze. As I've mentioned before, if you're going to catch a snooze as a prey species or any considerable period of rest, it's probably the best to do that during the heat of the day when predators are least active. They can move around, especially leopards and cheetah, but they don't really do it as much as they would in the hours of darkness or when it's a lot cooler early in the mornings or later in the afternoons. So, Simpiwe, nice question. I think it's the diversity that I get to sort of work in currently. Sometimes I'm out in the field as one of the naturalists on the morning or afternoon drives. And then also here on the waterholes, being able to jump about to all these different remote locations and not being stuck in one spot. So, because I sort of cut my teeth as an overlanding guide, I was never a guide that stayed at one lodge on one game reserve for any real extended period of time. So, I was always jumping about, taking guests on overland trips. And so, it's nice for me to be able to jump and continue that kind of work, albeit completely different, but taking you on the ride as well as me being able to jump around to these different locations. So, I have spent time in the Greater Kruger Park training students from a specific camp, but I also got to move around to the different camps of echo training, as I was one of their head instructors there. Where, for instance, Andrew is there now. And so he's also had the opportunity to jump about a bit, and I really like that. And so I get itchy feet, and it's lovely to be able to see the different wilderness locations, and even doing it from a remote position. It's still, I think, for me, the best part of the job. But also just bringing wildlife and nature to the public has always been my passion, and it's kept me out there and in the mix as well. So I think those two things, being able to jump around different spots, as well as sort of bringing wildlife and nature to the public. So there you can see, when you look closer at the waterbuck, the hair is actually rather coarse. It does look soft from a distance, but the closer you go in, the coarser you see it is. And I've actually been able to touch a couple of waterbuck, ones that we've come across. That one was actually killed by an African rock python. It was a baby, and even that little baby was still pretty coarse. So we got to touch it and feel it and have a look at its anatomy, etc. We must have surprised this absolutely massive python because it had killed the baby buck and it was busy swallowing it, and it had got over its shoulders. So it had gotten over the broadest part of the animal, and I'm not sure if something disturbed it or if it was even us, because when we got there, the baby was still wet from the slime, or that from the snake as it was busy trying to swallow it. And they do that if they are disturbed while they're busy trying to swallow, especially something substantial like a water buck. It's the biggest prey that I've ever seen a python attempt to swallow, and I'm pretty sure that it was going to be able to do it. But if they get surprised, they will spit out, because very often they will then be vulnerable to predation from lions and leopards. And just imagine then a leopard, for instance, would have two meals in one. Would have got the waterbuck and the python. And also, after they have swallowed a big prey item, they're very sluggish. They can hardly move. And having eaten a big prey species like that, it could have potentially have carried on for even up to a year or more without having to eat anything. So it would have been a high risk, but a very big reward as well. We often see pythons take impala, for instance. That's quite irregular and swallowing them down. But waterbuck, baby, is probably almost double the size of that. And so that, for me, was the largest that I've ever seen a African rock python try to swallow. It wasn't successful, but I think, as I say, it would have been if it wasn't for it being disturbed. What is the biggest prey species that any of you, the viewers, have seen swallowing down or busy eating or whatever it might have been on your different safari trips? Let us know. We'd love to hear it. So there's one of these individuals completely put its head down now and resting, having a sleep.
Whether you're a retiree, a recent graduate, or a professional seeking a change, the 55-day eco-training program is for you. With the coaching of experienced training guides, you'll embark on an unforgettable adventure that will give you a deep understanding of wildlife, conservation, and African cultures. If you sign up locally or internationally using this promo code, you'll receive 2,000 Rand off.
So, just an African folk tale about waterbuck and why they got their white rings on their bum. Because another story is that they were the first animals onto Noah's Ark, and went to the toilet when the paint was still wet. And that's the reason why they have white bums. But from Kenya, there's a folklore story that goes once upon a time, on a dark night, a mother waterbuck and her calf were grazing near a wooden hut belonging to a tribesman. The tribesman had been busy painting his hut white during the day and left the tin of paint outside his door for the next morning's work. The lush grass outside the hut was irresistible to the waterbuck, and the mother began to eat it. The calf followed, but unfortunately it accidentally knocked over the tin of paint, causing a loud noise that woke the tribesman. Upon seeing his spilled paint, the tribesman became furious, chasing the waterbuck and throwing the empty tin of paint at them. The mother waterbuck was struck on her hindquarters, leaving a round white mark. Surprisingly, the waterbuck was pleased with the white mark, as it made it easier for her calf to follow her at night. Other waterbucks saw the mark and decided to adopt it too. Today, all waterbuck, including males and calves, have a white mark on their hindquarters, as we see there. So that's another reason as to why they have that white ring on their bums. Anyway, it's not too long, and we're going to be introducing all the Africam waterholes as well. And so shortly, we'll be introducing that, and then obviously we'll have a few other locations to be going to. And as we know, Naledi Dam yesterday surprised me in that there was a leopard there. So there was some elephants drinking earlier on, but who knows what is in store for us today? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. And so, with us having seen elephants and a leopard here yesterday, why not start in this lucky spot? Looks like the elephants have also been enjoying themselves, and this one seems to be struggling to get up the embankment there. Not so slippy slidey. There we go. Diff lock engaged, and off he goes. Now, the leopard was seen off just in the shade to the left of where we're looking now.